Yeah, all right, guys. What we want to look at is techniques for solving, okay, these kinds of equations, okay? That is when sine or cosine takes on these values that are not quite familiar to us. Sine of x equals a quarter, a negative quarter, cosine of x equals a quarter, or a negative quarter, okay? Now, we know, you better know, okay, that the sine of x and the graph of y equals 1/4 are going to meet twice per cycle, twice per cycle. So this our objective is to find where they meet, okay? To find where they meet. But because they're not familiar stops on the unit circle to us, okay, they seem foreign to us, but they shouldn't. It's no different than what we've done before, except that we're going to need our calculator, okay? Not necessarily, but we want to have a decimal value. We're going to need our calculator, okay? So here we say, here's our sine of x graph intersecting with this horizontal line, y equals 1/4, twice per cycle. Once here, okay, and once here, all right? Now, we can get those values, okay? And that's the same thing as if we're going to say, well, if I'm looking for this value, why don't I just use the inverse sine? Well, okay, let's look at the inverse sine. Here's our inverse sine, right? Here's our inverse sine. Inverse sine, because inverse sine is going to give us but one answer right there, okay? There it is, that 0.253. They're only going to give us that one answer. We just say, well, why can't I just go to my calculator? Well, yes, we can. Let's just go to our calculator. First thing you want to make sure that in your calculator, you are in the right mode, okay? See, right now, this says I'm in the degree mode. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to the radian mode. I'm going to the radian mode, okay? Lock that in radian mode, and then here's my inverse trig functions. They're the green level functions, so they're the diamond sine. Inverse sine of 0.25, 1/4, right? Okay? Enter, and there it gives you. Okay, now if it didn't give it to you, you have to wavy equal sign that green enter. But that's 0.25. 0.2526, 0.253, which is the same as this, okay? So the question is, how do we find the answer to this little question right here? Sine of x. We say the x equal the inverse sine of 1/4. And actually, that's the exact value. We said that that's equal to 0.253, okay? But that's only one strike. What's the other strike, okay? Where's the other time it hits? Where's the other time it hit? Look at this. The distance between here and that point of intersection is 0.25. That 0.25 between this intersection at pi and back here, okay, is the same distance. This is literally the same distance as this over here. So the second hit is going to be at, okay, pi minus that 0.253, okay? And I can bet you I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to say, okay, here's that value, okay? I want to know when is that next hit. I bet you I'm going to get this 2.89. I'm going to say what? I'm going to say pi minus that previous value, okay? And what is it? There it is, 2.889. So, okay, let's come back and answer that and say, well, the second hit was then at x equals pi minus the inverse sine of 1/4, which was x equaling what, 0.283, I guess, whatever it was, 289, I forget what it was. Now, what about sine equaling 1/4? I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be exact same thing. It's going to be, the first strike is going to be x equals the inverse sine of negative 1/4, and x is going to equal pi minus the inverse sine of negative 1/4. Okay? Don't believe it? Let's check it out. Check it out. Okay? All right, this baby's going to be negative now. Okay? Down here. All right? All right? So where's it first strike? At negative 2.53, right? Go to the inverse trig. I want to see where that equals negative. Negative. Where is it? I bet you. There it is. Negative point. I don't think I'm right on there. Okay, negative 0.253. Negative 0.253. Okay? Now, what's the next one? This strike here is beyond pi. Yes, but this value here was negative. So again, if we say pi minus that negative value, it's going to be added to it. Okay? That is what? 3.394. 3.3. Mark that value right there. Let me go to my calculator. Okay? This time around, I'm going to say, what is the inverse sine of negative 0.25? Negative 0.25. Okay? There we go. Enter that. Is negative 0.253. Now, what am I going to do to get this? I'm going to say pi minus that negative, So it's pi minus that previous value, okay? And sure enough, 3394, just what we called, okay? Just what we called it, all right? So, in the lo and behold, it is exactly the same procedure. Exactly the same procedure. Okay. Now let's go and talk about the inverse cosine. Inverse cosine. Okay. All right. Inverse cosine. Let's go and change this to cosine. All right. And cosine equaling 1/4. Okay. Again, sure it's going to hit. Sure it's going to hit. But the first time it hit, it's going to give you a negative value. Okay. Next time it hit where? Well, let's see. All the way down here. Let's see. And then let's go to the inverse cosine here. Okay, change this over. We've got to go our function key to get that inverse cosine, right? Okay, there's the inverse cosine. And again, we want to know where is it going to be positive 1/4. Okay, look where it's going to give us. Okay, it's going to give us that 1339. 1339. Okay. Which now I bet you is going to be this value. 1319. I think that's the same thing I got. Yeah, that's the same thing. Okay. Which is going to be, okay, like, okay, on my calculator, okay, we're going to go for the inverse cosine this time. Inverse cosine of 0.25. Okay, and that's the same exact value, 1318. So answering this question, then, okay, how do I find that? Well, I'm just going to say x is going to be equal to the cosine inverse of that 1/4, and go and reason out. When's the next strike going to be? When's that next strike? Okay, that next strike is down here. Okay, where is that? Okay, where is that? All right, well, that's short of 2 pi, because here's 2 pi up here, right? Here's our 6.28 right up here. Okay, right there. There's our 2 pi right there. Okay, all right. So like literally from that distance. Let me do something here. Let me put in x equals 2 pi. Okay, there it is, right there. Okay, so literally, okay, this distance from here to here is going to be that same distance as from here to there. I will bet you, okay, that is going to be the same distance, same exact distance. So, okay, the next answer is going to be x equals 2 pi minus the cosine inverse of that 1/4 value. And I will bet you that it's going to read the same, okay, when I do that negative value. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute and illustrate that to you. But let's just go back, okay? Let's ask our calculator to find, okay, 2 pi minus this value, okay? And that reads 4965, and that is 4965. There it is, okay? One last proof to you, okay? We change that minus, all right, and see what's happening, okay? And okay, we're going to find this answer when we go inverse cosine. 1.823, 1.8.3. Going to change this one to negative. And sure enough, 1.823. See if the calculator gives us the same exact thing, okay? We doing the inverse cosine of negative 0.25, okay, is 1.823, okay? 1.823. And what's the second answer? Well, I bet you it's 2 pi minus that. So let's go back, okay? Second time around, we're going to say 2 pi, okay? We're going to say 2 pi minus that value, and that's going to give us 445. Let's look. 445. There it is, okay? So long and short of it is, any way you look at it, okay? Coming back here, first answer is going to be x equals, okay, the inverse cosine of negative 1/4, and x equals 2 pi minus the inverse cosine of negative 1/4. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, that's going to be able to solve for you any problems like, oh, what is the sine of x equals 7/8? I don't know. It's going to happen at what? X equals the sine inverse of 7/8, and x equals, okay, pi minus the sine inverse of 7/8, okay? And likewise, if I said, well, when is the cosine of x equaling 1/3? We're going to say, well, x equals the cosine inverse of 1/3, and the next strike is going to be x equals 2 pi minus the cosine inverse of negative 1/3. Did I say, well, 1/3 positive? Yeah, keep it that way, okay? See, it would be the same as it's negative, okay? So there you have it, okay? Hopefully that will allow us to solve some problems that get a little bit more sophisticated, but ultimately end up coming down to something like this. So you got the picture. You get a problem that's really quasi-quadratic in trig, but the bottom line is it comes down to something like this, and we don't even need the calculator. We just need to use the concepts as discussed here to find the answers. Of course, all answers would be tagging these with adding 2 pi k down the line, okay? Adding 2 pi k down the line would find all your solutions. So there you have it for solving some basic trig equations for values that are not at all familiar to us, but really not that foreign to us at all either. Okay? There you have it.